Underdog just dropped new tournaments. We are going to get in a $100 draft, but first we are going to get a little warm up going here. Okay. I don't want to go into a $100 draft cold. So we're going to hop in the $3. This is a mini schnauzer, $3 buy-in, 10,000 for first, 7,000 for second, 6,000 for third, 5,000 for fourth, all the way down the line, $100,000 prize pool. I mean, freaking massive. So let's get in here. Let's get a little bit of a warm up going before our $100 draft. But we have a lot to talk about. We had a J.J. McCarthy injury today. We had a Tyrone Tracy injury today. We have a Keenan Allen report that I think is interesting to look at. And obviously, we're still dealing with the fallout of the Jahmyr Gibbs injury yesterday. So there's a lot to talk about right now. I guess the first thing that we can start is with the New York Giants, because I saw earlier in the live chat, Hartnell says, by 31%, Tyrone Tracy almost gave me a heart attack earlier. Obviously, we are seeing Ben say it's Eric Gray season. So if you were looking at what happened early this morning, Tyrone Tracy got carted out of practice for the Giants. Sounded like it was going to be a season-ending injury. It sounded like he was Dunskies. Then we learned later on, it's not that bad. It's definitely not good, but it will not limit Tyrone Tracy to miss the entire season, which is a positive. I probably am not going to be drafting him, though, with this injury because he was already such a marginal prospect. I mean, he's a 25-year-old rookie running back in one of the worst offenses in the NFL with no draft capital. So in your regular redraft league, don't draft Tracy, don't draft Eric Gray, don't draft anybody but Singletary. And underdog drafts, obviously, because we go significantly deeper. In like Best Ball Mania, I probably will be mixing in Eric Gray just because through the majority of the offseason, he did go undrafted. So he will be a little bit of a unique pick. But yeah, another thing that we have to talk about will be the Brandon Ayuk update, where it looks like Ayuk actually may end up being a Pittsburgh Steeler here. I feel like there's so much happening every single day. AJ Brown goes at 9, so let's move this around. Garrett Wilson's here. I used to be very excited about selecting at the turn if we had Puka and Jahmyr Gibbs making it to us. Now it's much, much tougher with the Puka and Jahmyr Gibbs injuries. I'm still going to take Puka here at 11 just because I don't know what else to do. So we'll go Puka at 11. Deebo Samuel goes at 12. T. Jameson, what are you doing here, my guy? Goes Drake London. Spam the chat. Who do you want me to take? So we haven't had any additional reports with Jahmyr Gibbs other than him dealing with the hamstring. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to take Jonathan Taylor instead of Jahmyr Gibbs. If I was drafting on Underdog, I'd probably go Gibbs. Because you are getting the added bonus that the majority of the offseason he was selected in round 1. But since this draft just dropped today, that bonus doesn't really matter. So I think we are going to go take Jonathan Taylor. It is tough. But Sherney, longtime member of the Flocks, is picking at 12 in an ESPN full PPR. Would you say it's a better value to take 2 wide receivers like Kupp and Waddle at the 3-4 turn, or then take 1 and a quarterback like Hurts? If it's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex, I'd rather take 1 and then go Jalen Hurts. Jay Dollar Sign says, when looking at tight end quarterback pairs of Baltimore, KC, Buffalo, and Laporta, would you go best available or a stack? What about Hurts versus Allen if you took A.J. Brown? If you go A.J. Brown, I think you can go Jalen Hurts over Josh Allen. And then I would love to get a stack of Lamar Andrews. I would love to get a stack of Mahomes Kelsey if possible. I mean, right now, my favorite draft pick on Underdog, at least my favorite pairing, is Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews at the 4-5 turn. Obviously, we're not going to be able to do that here based off where we're picking. We could go Mahomes Kelsey, though, at pick 35, 36. But real quick, of course, if you don't know what we're doing here, we are drafting on Underdog. These are best ball drafts, so no time commitment at all during the season. It's how I draft hundreds of teams every offseason. It's how I won $150,000 on Underdog 2 years ago. And if you want to join the draft with us, you can find that link in the description, in the comment section, and the live chat. If you use code FLOCK when you sign up to Underdog, you're going to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $250. You're going to get my 2024 rankings, my 2024 fantasy football draft guide, and 2024 ADP consensus cheat sheet, all three of which will be updated every single Sunday for you until the season starts. And you will get a Christian McCaffrey special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard for week 1 as well. You do need to be in one of these states, however, if you wanted to draft on Underdog. You can find the map right there. But Hunter says, I need to pick 2 out of 3 players. Kenneth Walker, Deebo Samuel, or Nico Collins. Which 2 should I keep? Full PPR format, I'm probably going to go with Deebo and Collins. If it's a half PPR or a non-PPR format, I think you could go with Kenneth Walker over Deebo Samuel. But it looks like Deebo may just end up straight up crushing if Ayuk is dealt to Pittsburgh. Michael Pittman off the board at pick 32. Derrick Henry goes. I think I know what I'm going to do here. Pacheco off. Okay, so we're going to go Stephon Diggs. Wasn't really expecting Diggs to make it to us. But we'll take Diggs at 35. T. Jamison on the turn. Previously went with Deebo in London. Now they go ahead and take Zay Flowers at 36. May end up seeing a Lamar pick here if they go Zay Flowers. And they go Rashee Rice. So we're just going to keep it simple. We're going to take Sam Laporta. I think Laporta is one of the best picks in drafts at the moment. Because if you are looking at Laporta, he scored more last year than the other wide receivers being drafted in this range. And he was a rookie tight end. Freaking massive. Now, Myra says, Subboy and me again. I have the team with CMC, Brees, Kelsey, Jamar Wilson. Should I try to get Mahomes? Yes, I wouldn't go out of our way and make some massive overpay for him. Obviously, we're elite at running back and elite at wide receiver and tight end. It would be nice to have the Mahomes, Kelsey stack, but you don't need to. You don't need to, my friend. Marker Word says, just hope Laporta isn't the next Pitts. The big difference between Sam Laporta and Kyle Pitts is the Detroit Lions currently project to be the second highest scoring offense in the NFL this season. So if you think the Lions are an elite offense, you should still have a ton of touchdown upside with Laporta. Colin says, 10-team full PPR redraft league with keepers, 3 wide receivers, keeping Hall and Achane. Every single elite receiver in the first round is kept besides Jefferson, Chase, Reek. Should we trade up to pick 6 to try to get one? Hell yes, especially in a 10-team league if you're able to. I'd freaking love to. I will say, though, this is just a quick side note. It doesn't impact the fact that I would love for you to try to trade up to get in the range where you're allowed to select one of those guys. That based off the J.J. McCarthy injury that you had earlier today, I am officially moving Amon-Ra St. Brown over Justin Jefferson in half PPR formats as well. I already had Amon-Ra St. Brown ranked over Justin Jefferson in our draft guide and on the rankings on flockfantasy.com. But those are for full PPR leagues. Underdog's a half PPR format where you kind of want to be chasing spike weeks and big plays as well. So I had previously been taking Justin Jefferson, but now that it looks like he's kind of locked in with Sam Darnold for a long time, I think that it's probably a better idea for you to go through and take St. Brown over Jefferson with how good of an offense St. Brown should be in. St. Brown. Okay, George Kittle goes off the board 55. Anthony Richardson goes 56. Chris Godwin goes 57. So a report came out today. I'll pull it up just so I can make sure I'm not getting this wrong. It's a big enough deal that I'm going to take Jaden Reed over Keenan Allen here. And I don't act like it's the end of the world here with Keenan Allen, but I think Keenan Allen is going to fall a bit. So yeah, we're going to get Keenan Allen here in round 6. Don't be surprised if Keenan Allen begins falling in your drafts. Let me read you why in just 1 second. Like I said, I don't act like this is the end of the world by any means. But a report came out saying that Keenan Allen weighs 230 pounds. I don't know how valid this is. If it is true, there are very few wide receivers in the NFL that have ever been able to dominate at that weight and be able to generate separation consistently. And the guys who have been were a lot taller than Keenan Allen. So I think it's enough to use it as a tiebreaker against Keenan. I'm not going to be updating my rankings like dramatically because of it. Steven says, hey, Mace, is there any wide receiver that would trump a running back in my draft? I'm picking 7th in a 10-team league. So if you're picking 7th, we're going to assume that McCaffrey, Brees, Bijan are all gone. And the wide receivers you'd be looking at would be Amon-Ra St. Brown, Justin Jefferson. But in a league that's a half point per carry format, a half point per carry league, I would still rather have Jonathan Taylor or Saquon Barkley over St. Brown and Jefferson, which is crazy because in a regular league, I'd never say that. But in a half point per carry format where 20 carries gets you 10 points, 20 carries is equivalent to 100 receiving yards. I honestly don't think it matters what wide receiver makes it to you in round 1. The only thing is like, yeah, if Jefferson or St. Brown made it to you in round 2, you probably take him. But in round 2, I think you're probably better off going with like Kyron Williams, Derrick Henry. Joseph says, happy BR, healthy Gibbs. Choose 2 out of 3, A.J. Brown, Gibbs, Saquon. If Gibbs is healthy, Jahmyr Gibbs, A.J. Brown. But obviously we'll have to monitor the Gibbs health in comparison to Saquon. Vinny says 15-second timers feel so much faster than 20 seconds. Yeah, I love the 15-second timers. And like I said, this is going to be the warm-up for us. Maybe we get in one more of these, and then we're to hop in a $100 buy-in on Underdog. Ken says maybe Keenan Allen dreams he is Calvin Johnson. I'm not going to lie. I may dream that I am also 3 inches taller than I actually am. So I don't blame Keenan Allen, but it's not the reality of the situation. Okay. Now, James, God, dear God, I look away for 1 second. We're already on the clock. We only have Jonathan Taylor at running back, so I think Aaron Jones is going to be a fine guy to just go ahead and take here as our RB2. Would have been nice to get Stroud making it to us, of course. It looks like that's not going to happen. And y'all know I've taken a lot of Jordan Addison, but I think that the injury that you have to McCarthy does negatively impact him. You know what we're going to do here that's going to be dumb, but I'm going to take Zamir White for the sole reason that Zamir White is the thumbnail of this live stream. So you're welcome. No false advertising here, ladies and gentlemen. We got the guy that's the thumbnail. I think we should start making that a challenge of a live stream. We can't end the stream until we've taken the guy that's on the thumbnail. Now, at running back, JT, Aaron Jones, Zamir White. Wide receiver, we have Puka, Diggs, Jaden Reed, Keenan Allen. Tight end, we have Sam Laporta. Now, Raymond says 10-team full PPR, 2 wide receiver and a flex with bonus points on 50-yard plus touchdowns. What's your best strategy here? Thanks, Mason. Keep up the work. Really do appreciate you. So, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. I don't necessarily think that we need to be going through and making too many adjustments. The only thing that I think is obviously, well, I'll stand by everything we've said previously. If you only start 2 wide receivers and 1 flex, devalue wide receiver. But the only thing that I think is really worth talking about there is if you're playing in a big play bonus league, I'm not really making too many adjustments. Because if you're playing in a bonus format where you get additional points if a player hits 100 total yards for a game or has a 40-yard plus play, what adjustment are we making? Oh, we want guys that are going to have a lot of volume that have big play potential. That's already the profile of player that we're going for in drafts. So personally, I don't know what we could say to adjust there, my friend. Okay. Now, after we go Zamir, one concern that we are going to have is what are we going to be looking at when it comes to quarterback? We may be on the struggle bus at quarterback here, and it will be something we need to figure out. Tony Pollard goes 104. We can go Caleb. We can go Stafford. We can go Love since we have Jaden Reed. Brian Robinson goes. So we're actually in a really good spot here at 107. I'm really happy about this. We're going to get Jordan Love. Perfect. I thought we were going to be on the struggle bus at quarterback. Having Jordan Love paired up with Keenan Allen is just an absolute no-brainer for us. Jaden Daniels goes 108. So it does look like, I guess Caleb's already gone. Looks like Caleb Williams went before Jordan Love. I would not recommend doing that. Pick 110. I don't know what we're going to do here. Brock Purdy off. What's the report with Shaheed? Back at practice. We'll take Shaheed. Thinking maybe a bump up Singletary with the Tracy injury just because there's one fewer running back for the Giants. But also they could always go out there and add in a veteran. The thing is the team's probably not going to be contending this year. But Elite Henry, always happy to see us. See the new profile pick, my guy says. Yo, what's good, Flock? In a 10-team app BBR, who's your top 5 running backs? Top 5 running backs in a happy BR format, very boring, would be CMC, Breece Hall, Bijan, Jahmyr Gibbs if healthy, if not Jonathan Taylor, then Saquon Barkley. Okay. Let's move this down. Spree Dog says over 1,000 watching at the like for the second draft. Yes, we hit 300 likes on this stream. We'll fire up a second draft after this. And we're probably going to hop in a $100 draft. Tanner says, Michael Pittman Jr. in a late first for Puka, yes or no in a 12-team dynasty? I'd probably go Puka, especially if it's a one-quarterback league. If it's a super flex league, maybe a little bit tougher. Okay. Let's move this over. 80 Mitchell off the board at pick 120. Jared says, 2-quarterback league with a single flex. What should my strategy be? Top 10 quarterback first, then wideouts. Thanks, boss. Not if you can only start one flex spot. If you can only start 2 wide receivers and 1 flex, but you can get 2 quarterbacks in your lineup, my guy, I'm going with 2 top 10 quarterbacks. I'm probably punting wide receiver there, even if it's a full PPR format. Yeah, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league. Say you start 2 quarterbacks. It's a start 8 format, ignoring defense kicker. You should have about 40% of your lineup coming from the quarterback position from week to week perspective. So like I'm used to playing in super flex leagues where you start 10 guys ignoring defense kicker. And their quarterback still definitely matters a ton. But the percentage of the starting lineup that they account for isn't ridiculous. But if you only start 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, and then you have the super flex on top of it, for the love of God, go heavy with QB production. Okay. So let's figure out what we are going to do here at 131. Jalen Polk goes, so we can take Blake Corum as our 4th running back. Now running back, we have Jonathan Taylor, Aaron Jones, Zamir White, Blake Corum. Wide receiver, we have Puka Nacua, Stephon Diggs, Jaden Reed, Keenan Allen, Shaheed. Tight end, we have Sam Laporta, and then we have at quarterback Jordan Love stacked with Jaden Reed. Oh, dear God, what do we want to do? I think we are going to take Mike Williams here. If we were to go with Eckler or Chandler, we're in a spot where we're no longer allowed to draft running backs with this being an underdog draft. I'm a little bit worried about Frymuth based off the rumors that we have with Ayuk going there. Ayuk goes over to Pittsburgh. I think Frymuth's target share comes down. So we will take Mike Williams, hopefully before we have another wide receiver teardrop. Benny, always happy to see him, my guy says. Pick 10, Garrett Wilson, Gibbs, Ayuk. Beautiful. Beautiful. Allen can... How is this even possible? Worthy, Keon, Addison, Javonte, Singletary, Schultz. Yes, I think that's honestly... Out of my simpleton mind, and obviously I don't remember the exact details of every team you've ever sent me. Out of what I can remember, I think that's my favorite team we've ever drafted. Obviously, we got some pretty serious values for it to happen. But yeah, beautiful. Okay. Now, Luke Musgrave off the board at 144. Stafford goes. Stafford would have been in play for us at 155. I feel like I haven't drafted much Stafford this year, even though I'm not actively avoiding Puka, even though I'm actually targeting Kyron in underdog drafts when he goes in round 3. But for whatever reason, I feel like I don't have much Stafford. Bean Salad says, Ricky's victory lap will be historic when Ayuka's a Steeler. 100%. I mean, hashtag trust Ricky. Chuba Hubbard off the board to pick 150. Aaron Rodgers goes 151. Smooth this around. So if we get a running back value that we like making it to us, we can go running back here, which is why we previously did pass on running back earlier. Michael Wilson goes 153. I know who we want. The question is, does he make it? He does. I think there are a couple of running backs we're fine with in the later rounds. Going with Xavier Legette, though, gives us another option with a quarterback that we can go with Bryce Young later. And also, if we take Xavier Legette here, I just think it's a phenomenal price tag on a round 1 NFL draft pick. Getting him at wide receiver like 70. And then we will take J.K. Dobbins as our 5th running back. Looks like Dobbins is healthy. Looks like Vidal's not even going to make the team. So Dobbins obviously has been a big-time riser in drafts. So now at wide receiver, we have Puka Nacua, Stephon Diggs, Jaden Reed, Keenan Allen, Shaheed, Williams, Legette. Running back, we have Jonathan Taylor, Aaron Jones, Zamir White, Blake Corum, J.K. Dobbins. Quarterback, we have Jordan Love stacked with Jaden Reed. And we have Sam Laporta at tight end, if we didn't already say that. Sunil says, I signed up using Flock on Underdog Fantasy. Where do I access your rankings, Mason? So when you sign up to Underdog Fantasy with code Flock and make a $10 deposit in 2024, you are going to be getting an email from Underdog Fantasy initially with our 2024 Fantasy Football Draft Guide, rankings, and the 2024 ADP Consensus Cheat Sheet. Then every Sunday, you're also going to be getting an email from Mason Dodd at flockfantasy.com with the updated draft guide and ADP consensus cheat sheet. Give it an hour, though, for the email to show up from Underdog. I don't know if it happens immediately. They just did set that up, so it's automated, and it can get you the rankings as soon as possible, though. J Loop says, how important is week 15, 16, 17 game stacking? I sometimes prioritize my draft picks based off playoff outcomes. I think it's going to be the tournament that you are in. If it is an extremely large field tournament, such as Best Ball Mania, where you have like 16 player pods there in week 16, and then obviously a massive week 17 final, then I would say yes, going and getting maybe a bring back for your specific stack does make sense. But a lot of the drafts that don't really make sense, such as the Eliminator, such as the Marathon, such as the Big Dog, the Mastiff, the Big Eliminator that we're about to do, weekly winners. I guess weekly winners, you can target any particular week with bringbacks, but it matters specifically in large field tournament contests where there are massive player pools in the prize pool. Reed says, Mason, how do we get all the updated stuff if we did a Flock code last year? Subscription question mark. Yeah, if you go to flockfantasy.com, you can also get all the updated rankings, which I update pretty much every day on the site. And I update the draft guide every single week in the 2024 ADP Consensus Cheat Sheet every single week on flockfantasy.com. That is a little more expensive, though, than just depositing $10 on Underdog, which is why I do typically just promote the Underdog way in the videos. But I think we want to go with 3 quarterbacks and 3 tight ends. So I think we're done at the other positions. Dear God, what do we do here? We'll just take... No. God, oh my gosh, you're an idiot, Mason. 15-second timer gets the best of us. Looks like we're only going to be drafting 2 tight ends. And if you are signing up to flockfantasy.com, use code FLOCK. You can get 30% off any sub. And if you get an annual Mother Flocker sub and use code FLOCK, I'll actually break down your fantasy football team for you after you draft it. But we're going to go ahead. We will take Bryce Young. Now we are all in on the Carolina Panthers offense with Xavier Legette, Adam Thielen, and Bryce Young. We're going to take one more tight end and one more quarterback. Looks like we hit 300 likes on the stream, though, so we're going to fire up another draft after this one. Here's what I'm going to do. I am going to get into another draft with the countdown of 1, 2, 3 on my phone. That way y'all don't have to look at an empty draft board as it loads, and we can finish the draft off here. So I am getting in the big eliminator on Underdog. That is the $100 buy-in in 1, 2, 3. I am in. There are 10 spots in the $100 buy-in if anybody wants to draft with us on Underdog. Now, with that being said, we may end up having to do another $3 draft as we wait for that to fill, but we will see how many people here join us. Okay, so let's move this over. A-Rod says, where does Mostert land in that top 5 running back list? And nowhere close, my friend. Mostert doesn't catch the ball. 32-year-old running back. I am very, very sorry, but I can't rank him as a top 5 guy. Okay. Now, Damian Pierce goes. So we are going to be grabbing one more quarterback here at pick 203. And then we are to take one more tight end as well. And really hope that Sam Laporta can hold down the fort for us here. Rich says, the buffoon Jacob you mercilessly roasted last season week by week has decided to join Dynasty. Jacob, the thing is, my guy, in Dynasty, your garbage team is going to get laughed at year round. Usually, people who start playing Dynasty fantasy football at least have an idea of what they are doing. My guy, you just have absolutely no hope here. You're in over your head. Cody says, I bought the Flock Fantasy subscription, but I don't have access to the draft guide. Where do I go to get it? Just go to the post page and you'll look at, just scroll down a bit. I posted it like, I want to say 3 weeks ago, and I just update the post every time we have a new version. It just says 2024 Flock Draft Guide, but there are a lot of posts on flockfantasy.com, so you have to scroll down a bit. Here, JJ McCarthy's hurt, so we're just going to go ahead. We will get an unstacked Drake May and hopefully just get some random tight end points. And then random quarterback points. And then I think we're going to go ahead and take Tucker Kraft here as well. Okay. So this is a full draft. Let me go and see if the $100 draft is rolling at this point. Yes, the $100 draft is going. So we need to get in there right now. Give me 1 second. We are actually up next. Oh, dear God. Dear God. Let me see if I can get in here. We are on the clock. We get Jamar Chase making it to us. It's going to be a little bit of a slower draft than the other one that we were just in. So we're going to get Jamar Chase at pick 5. Now, this is the big eliminator. So this is a $100 buy-in. Very different format. So the other draft on Underdog is a draft that you have the regular season weeks 1 through 14. Then by the time you advance to the fantasy football playoff tournament, you're going to be going into individual weeks like week 15 and essentially think about it as a little bracket, a new league, and the highest scoring teams in that pool are going to advance to week 16, which the same thing's going to happen there. The highest scoring teams in week 16 will advance to week 17. And then in week 17, you'll have a large player pool competing for the top prize. That's how it's like a $25 buy-in, $1.5 million for first place in Best Ball Mania. Whereas the big eliminator, it's not that at all. You can get eliminated week 1. All it is a format where you can never be the worst team. Every time that you have a new week, it's a brand new slate. None of your points matter from the week before. And in your 12-team league, in your 10-team league, whatever it is that week, if you are the bottom team, if you were in the bottom 2 teams, you are then eliminated from the tournament. So this is not about having the highest ceiling ever for weeks 15, 16, 17. This is instead about making sure that you never have a garbage team here, which hopefully we can figure it out. Benny says, tips for joining a dynasty league that's 1 year in. I would not join any dynasty leagues that have already been going where you can't do the startup. I would not join an orphan dynasty team unless you are able to, 1, confirm that your team's above average, or 2, you know the people you're joining with and you just really want to be in a league with them. Anthony says 12-team full PPR, 6 total receivers and running backs in the lineup. Can be 2 and 4 or 3 and 3 of each with an additional flex. Have pick 4. Do we go running back or wide receiver? Full PPR where you could get, say, 4 wide receivers in your lineup. I actually think you can go ahead and take a wide receiver there, my friend. Loop says, I have 20% Tracy. Am I cooked? It's better now that it looks like he may not be out for the season, but definitely not good news that you had today. I mean, I'd be lying to you if I told you it was good news. Okay, so we are going to be back up on the clock. We took Jamar Chase. Oh my gosh, do we do it? For the love of God, please, Jahmyr Gibbs, be healthy. The thing is, even if, say, Gibbs misses 2 weeks this year and Gibbs comes back and crushes in week 3 on, if we have the worst finish in this league in week 1, if Jahmyr Gibbs misses, it doesn't freaking matter what happens. It doesn't matter if Gibbs is the running back 1 overall in the second half of the season if he misses games at the beginning of the year and we're bounced from the tournament. So in this tournament, it's very scary to take Jahmyr Gibbs at pick 20, but I'm rolling the dice here, ladies and gentlemen. We are rolling the freaking dice. Okay, after we take Gibbs, you have Devontae Adams, you have Cooper Kupp, Mike Evans, and Malik Neighbors all going off the board. Desire Best is 20% McCarthy exposure RIP. Now, yeah, that is an RIP, my guy. Ramon says, I think Gibbs misses a month. If he misses a month from this point, I'm chilling. If he misses a month during the season and we took him here, it is a no bueno situation for us. Yeah, if he misses a month, from this point, it will be ugly for ya boy. Okay. We are back up on the clock. Come on. Let's freaking go. Devon Achane here, pick 29. We need wide receivers to make it to us. We are digging ourselves in a hole here, but it's one that I'm willing to risk it. This is such an interesting start out the gate. Let's see what happens. Let's freaking see what happens. And just so we can recap real quick the prize pool, we still do want to be trying to chase these guys that could have monstrous seasons, right? Whenever I say we just don't want to be the last in the league, it's not like the floor is the only thing that matters with these players. But let me pull up the prize pool that you have here. This is a league that's a $250,000 prize pool. First place is $50,000. Mason says Breece Harrison or Hill and Etienne in a 10-team PPR single flex league. 10-team league, probably just give me the best player. Give me Tyreek Hill. Okay. Let's go. I am nervous. I have some strategies in this format. I have something cooking here, all right? I have something cooking. We'll see if we can figure it out. Waffle Taco says 1v1 at week 17 is nuts. It is nuts, my guy, which I'm excited. I'm excited. Okay. Christian Kirk goes pick 37 from OMG, getting some locked in, consistent targets in Jacksonville. Okay. Jalen Hurts goes pick 38. Demonic Seller says, this tourney's great. Thanks for streaming my winning team. Good luck, my friend. Good luck. Yeah. Celery in your pick 3 goes Tyreek, Cooper Kupp, Devonta Smith out the gate. One other thing with the Eliminator that we don't really talk about in the other underdog tournaments is the bye weeks are actually going to matter here, right? Is if I go through and I just take everybody with the week 12 bye, all of a sudden we may be in a position that our team could be phenomenal. I maybe draft all the right players. Maybe like last year, I draft Kyron, I draft Puka, I get everybody right. But half the team's on the same bye week. It doesn't freaking matter. I'm bounced because of that week. So let's see what happens. So bye weeks will be something that we need to monitor here. Our bye weeks are 5, 6, 12 through the first 3 rounds. Okay. Etienne goes pick 41. George Pickens off 42. Stephon Diggs making it to us. Diggs has a very common week 14 bye. You're going to see that these week 14 bye players probably do fall in the eliminator more so than you'd expect, but I needed a wide receiver. I think Stephon Diggs is in a very good offense. I'm not going to sit here crying about Stephon Diggs at 44 at all. T. Higgins goes pick 45. Yeah, so you have these teams at 2, 3, and 4 going with. I mean, we'll wait to say it, but looks like teams 2, 3, and 4 going with the 0 RB approach out the gate here. JN says the fantasy gods are speaking to me. They're telling me to tell you to draft Devin Duvernay. My guy, those are the fantasy demons speaking to you. I don't think those are the fantasy gods. Okay. Now, let's smooth this over. Rashee Rice off the board at 49. I have my eyes set on one guy in this range. Oh, he's gone. Josh Jacobs goes. Jacobs was the guy that we were looking at. I've taken Josh Jacobs a ton, specifically in the Eliminator style contest. Dear God. I need to think. Give me a second. Oh my gosh. What's going to make it back around to us? We'll take Andrews. Okay, so y'all know in a regular underdog draft, I am all about grabbing the elite level tight end. In your regular redraft league, I'm all about grabbing the elite level tight end. Specifically in the Eliminator, it's a spot that I do prefer to draft 3 tight ends and 3 quarterbacks. So I am a little bit less excited about getting the true elite level tight end here with Mark Andrews. In this format in particular, I think it would have been okay for us to go Terry McLaurin if McLaurin would have fallen. I would have actually really liked Josh Jacobs here, pick 53, but Jacobs doesn't make it to us. But yeah, we'll go ahead. We will take Andrews at pick 53. It is another week 14 bye, right? Now we have Diggs and Andrews both on the week 14 bye. Will be something that we need to continue to monitor. But interesting. Interesting. Calvin Ridley off the board, pick 58. George Kittle goes 59. So we actually see the team there at 11 go bully tight end with Sam Laporta, George Kittle. Makes me feel better about my selection of Mark Andrews, where we take him. Okay. Let's figure this out. We need to do more high-stakes drafts in the live stream soon because I get freaking... I get nervous. I'm getting amped for this. Okay. Deontay goes 61. So Nolan just going with these guys that are locked into targets that may not have a super high ceiling, but it's an eliminator draft, so you may not need those super high ceilings. Okay. Anthony Richardson goes. So that team at 11. Goes bully QB and bully tight ends through the first 6 rounds. Let's see. Let's see what's going to happen. Kenneth Walker goes off the board at 63. Kyle Pitts goes 65. I actually kind of like Pitts off the board. I'm getting nervous here. Getting nervous. Montgomery goes 66. Interesting for the Montgomery pick. We're for sure going to take Joe Mixon here. I think Mixon's an absolute no-brainer selection at 68. Projects to see volume at the beginning of the year, should have a relatively high floor. The issue that we're going to have going back to the bye weeks is this is now our third player on the week 14 bye. So it will be a situation that from here on out, if a player has a week 14 bye, we are looking in a different direction. We are more likely than not wanting to go in that direction. Nolan says Mixon is an incredible pick. Would have grabbed if he wasn't week 14. Thank you, my guy. Yeah, I think if you just look at the consistent volume Mixon should have in this offense for this tournament, it does make a ton of sense to get him. And in this tournament, I am willing to go a little bit running back heavy out the gate. Josh says, evening, Mason. Definitely appreciate your content. Would want your take on elite quarterbacks, tight ends, in a double flex happy BR home league. Is it necessary or not? Thank you, bud. Appreciate you, my guy. I think it's less necessary than a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league. Specifically in a league where you can start up to 4 wide receivers, I don't think you need to get the elite quarterback and tight end, and I think it just comes down to what ends up falling to you in your draft. Okay. Now let's see what is going to happen here. Okay, Evan Ingram off the board at 73. Ingram wasn't really in play for us. I have my eyes on a single guy here. I think he should make it. Now, if this was Best Ball Mania, the absolute no-brainer selection for us at this point would be CJ Stroud. But here, especially in a Week 17 setup where it's only a 1v1. Okay, Jackson Smith-Njigba was the guy that I wanted. Dear God, Hollywood is such a bad pick here. Dear God. I will say, as an objective fact, it is bad to take 7 wide receivers out the gate in this format. The all-injured team. There's no way this team makes it out of week 1. If this team makes it out of week 1, y'all in trouble. All right. Now, is that going to happen? Probably not. Probably not. This will probably be a 1-week adventure for us here. But, oof. JSN was our guy in round 7. Thought we were going to get him. All I got to say. So this team makes it out of week 1. Y'all are done skis. All right now. Of course, this team probably can't make it out of the preseason, but we'll figure it out. Sort says, what would you change it to 16-team league? I'm thinking about hitting running backs earlier. What are your thoughts? I definitely would. I'd definitely stay a lot more flexible in a 16-team league and not try to go like 4 receivers out the gate or 3 running backs out the gate. Bean Salad says, I'm pick 5 in a 10-team ESPN league, 2 wide receivers and a flex. Do I reach for HN at 16 or do I go Lamb, Hill, Brees, Bijan at 5? The guy at pick 4 loves his fins. I would say you can, if you don't think there's any shot HN makes it back to you in round 3, and also if you don't have the wide running backs in the tier like Kyron Williams making it back to you. 7 straight wide receivers is not necessarily a bad strategy in some underdog tournaments with specific setups. However, in a smaller field eliminator contest, I would make the argument that 7 straight wide receivers, I'm not going to say it's worse than what I've done, drafting every player that's currently on the IR. But it's probably not ideal. Okay. Joe Burrow off the board to pick 89. You know what this team's needing. We have a hamstring injury with Jahmyr Gibbs. We have a shoulder injury with Hollywood Brown. We don't have a knee injury with this roster yet. DeAndre Hopkins, come on down. No, we can't go Hopkins. I'm not going to go with another injured guy, but Hopkins wasn't injured. He would 100% be the pick here. We're going to go ahead. We will take Curtis Samuel. Don't love Samuel, even in a regular Best Ball Mania draft. I'd say here he's even worth less because the spike weeks aren't going to matter nearly as much. But we taking him regardless. We taking him regardless. The team after us goes Jonathan Brooks, another injured guy. Yeah. The team after us, I'd really like their team if it was Best Ball Mania. Just specifically in an Eliminator draft. Probably not ideal. Okay. Now, Raheem Mostert off the board at 95. Pick 101 will be interesting. Will be interesting. Shaheed goes 97. Don't you tip me to add this knee injury in here. We're collecting every injury in fantasy football at the moment. Specifically, so when we go out in week 1, we can go out in style. Joshua Palmer, 99. Let's fire it up. We have a hamstring. We have a shoulder. We now have a knee injury. Do we have enough points to make it past round 1 of this tournament? The week 1 of this tournament? That's yet to be determined. But let's go ahead and let's fire up DeAndre Hopkins. Wide receiver, we have Chase, Diggs, Hollywood, Curtis Samuel, DeAndre Hopkins. Running back, we have Gibbs, Achane, Joe Mixon. Tight end, we have Mark Andrews. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to call up Underdog and go, hey, guys, I have a great team for weeks 4 on, okay? But here's what I need from y'all. I need y'all to put me to the side in this tournament. Don't make me play against anybody in the first 3 weeks. I'll come in starting in week 5, but I can't do anything before then. Okay. We'll see if they go for it. LC says Ingram and Warren for Mostert, Andrews. We have Lamar and Achane. Oh, I'm for sure going to go ahead and take Andrews there, my friend. Now, John says, Happy BR was offered Gibbs and Debo for Lamb and Jacobs. Pending if Ayuk traded, deal would be off if he stays. I'd be governed to cover Gibbs if needed. Yeah, I probably want Lamb and Jacobs there, regardless of the safety with the clause. But real quick, of course, if you don't know what we're doing, we are drafting on Underdog Fantasy. That's where I draft every single day. I've done it for years. I mean, they're best ball drafts, so no time commitment at all during the season. It's how I draft hundreds of teams every year. It's how I won 150,000 on Underdog 2 years ago. And of course, if you want to join the draft with us, you can find that link in the description, in the comment section, in the live chat. If you use code FLOCK, you're going to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $250. Plus, you'll get my 2024 rankings, my 2024 draft guide, a 2024 ADP consensus cheat sheet, all 3 of which will be updated every single Sunday for you until the season starts. And on top of that, you'll get a Christian McCaffrey special pick of more than less than half total yard. You do need to be in one of these states. However, if you want to draft on Underdog, you can see the map on the screen now. But Tanner says Aaron Jones and Debo for DJ Moore and Kenneth Walker. Who wins? Give me Kenneth Walker over Aaron Jones. Give me Debo over DJ Moore. I'd probably go DJ Moore and Kenneth Walker, though. Unless you think Ayuk gets dealt. If Ayuk stays, give me DJ Moore, Kenneth Walker. If Ayuk's dealt, give me Aaron Jones and Debo. Okay. Devin Singletary. So looking at the wide receivers here and looking at the QBs, we're probably going to go with... We're going to go Lawrence. We do have a decent amount of Week 12 buys. We have Lawrence now, Chase, Curtis Samuel. To be honest with you, I don't really care about stacks in this format in particular. In the regular Eliminator, where there's a massive Week 17 component to it, I do think that you should be looking at maybe getting at least one stack. But here, stacks are going to increase your volatility from week to week perspective. And that's almost the exact opposite of what we're looking for, especially with the one-person final. I'm completely fine having an unstacked Lawrence. I'm a little bit concerned about having 3 week 12 buys now, but I just think that going forward, we really have to be avoiding week 12. We really have to be avoiding week 14 with our picks. Now, Preston says 8-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. We have Allen, Etienne, Jacobs, Tyreek, Garrett Wilson, Laporta. Love having Allen, Laporta in an 8-team league. Everybody's going to have good running backs, wide receivers. You need to find a way to stand out. Amari, Aaron Jones at the flex. Any suggestions to improve or stay put? If it's an 8-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league, it's going to be a very boring suggestion. But any chance you get to make a 2-for-1 deal to upgrade the starting lineup, I would love it. If you could trade Aaron Jones and Amari and go get a better running back, I think that'd make a ton of sense. Okay, so let's move this around. I know what we are wanting to do here. Let's see if we get the optionality for it. Tua goes 123. Vinny says Chubb time. My God, we already have a knee injury on this team. Jared Goff goes. I was actually wanting to go Tua or Jared Goff, so it does suck to see both those guys off the board. We're still trying to play catch-up at wide receiver. And at the same time, Jerry Jeudy does have a Week 10 bye. We currently don't have any Week 10 buys lined up. So I think we're going to go ahead. We will take Jerry Jeudy. Nick Chubb, I'm not really going to be drafting here, just given the fact that Chubb's probably going to miss the beginning of the season. Blake Corum, I don't know how many rookies I'm going to be adding onto this squad, specifically when we're dealing with all these injuries and we kind of need some production to cover the beginning of the year. So we'll take Jeudy and hope that we end up getting hopefully some usable weeks at the beginning. Mason Haynes, my guy, if you look at some of our recent videos, I've done ESPN mock drafts in them. Kendrick Lamar fan says Waddle, Corum in a 4th for Kamara and Diggs. I want Waddle, Corum in a 4th. For sure in Dynasty. No brainer. Okay. So let's see. After we go, Jerry Jeudy, Blake Corum, Pat Frymuth, Gabe Davis off the board. All jokes aside, I know we are dealing with injuries. I think this is a good team. It's not a guarantee that Gibbs misses any time. It's not a guarantee that Hopkins misses any time. It's not a guarantee that Hollywood misses any time. Now, is it likely? Yes. But if we get 2 of these guys somehow making it back, we're good to go. But I have great news for y'all. Come here. Come here, girlie. 1 second. The special lady just busted through this door and got herself in her spot. Come over here. What are you doing, girl? Come here. Okay, she doesn't want to say hi. She's just going to lay down over there. But Jakeem says, 12-team Dynasty PPR, double flex. We have Kyler, DSW. Who the hell is DSW? JJ McCarthy, Deshaun Watson, JT, HN, Ramadre, Moss, Algier, Garrett Wilson, Harrison, Debo, Nico, Diggs, JSN, Addison, Kincaid, Chick, any upgrade. So shallow Dynasty League in general, if we were looking at doing anything, I think it probably makes sense to see if we could move off of, say, Diggs. We don't really need Diggs' production on this roster. We'll be going down in value over the next 12 months. So if you wanted to move like Diggs and Ramadre and go get a running back that may not be guaranteed to decline, I think that could make sense when you just have so much depth on the roster. LC says Moss, Charbonnet, Warren, pick 2. We're going to go Moss and Warren, and then Coleman or Addison. I'm going to be going Coleman. Okay, so let's figure out what we are doing. The buys that we are trying to avoid at this point, we have 3 week 12 buys and we have 3 week 14 buys. Okay. Let's see what happens here. What's going to happen? Darnell Mooney goes. I did kind of have my eyes on Darnell Mooney. He did have a week 12 bye, though, so it would have been tough. Dotson off the board. We are going to reach and just get some quarterback points Definitely would never be reaching on Stafford in a format that's different than this. But we do just need a baseline of points every single week. So I kind of do want 3 respectable quarterbacks. Stafford is a respectable QB at the same time. He is a unique buy for us. He doesn't line up with the same bye week for Trevor Lawrence. And Kirk Cousins would have been the same buy as Lawrence. So I think it makes sense to go with Stafford. Okay. So the team after us goes Nick Chubb. Then we see J.K. Dobbins, Cole Kmet. What is going to happen here? Gino goes 146. We could go Cousins and send up a prayer that we get a big Matthew Stafford week 12 game. Let's see what the team in front of us does. They go Cousins. I honestly wasn't going to go Cousins. We were going Deshaun Watson here. Not the quarterback strategy I want in Best Ball Mania. Not the quarterback strategy I want if we're hunting upside for weeks 15, 16, 17. But if we're looking for a baseline level of production at quarterback, we have 3 guys that should project to start all year that have upside in their own right and that all have separate buys. The stacks don't matter nearly as much in this format in particular. They don't really, I would actively kind of avoid stacks in this format, to be honest with you. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Deshaun Watson Stafford here at the turn. Feel very comfortable with it for the raw amount of points that we should be getting. Clutch McGee says 14 team half PPR. We start 2, 2, 3, 2, and 2. How much of a premium does tight end get? Is it crazy to want 2 tight ends by the end of the 6th to go? By the way, really do appreciate you, my guy. The thing is, tight end gets a premium, yes. But if you look at the supply and demand of the quarterback position in a 14-team 2QB league, that is also going to be crazy. So I personally would say that the main adjustment you make in a 14-team league where your starting lineup is 11 guys, depth is going to be the most important thing rather than an individual position. Helvy Crypto says, glad to get in a draft with you. Good luck. Good luck. Hell yes, my guy. Please let me know what pick you're at. Oh, you're in there at 1. Let's check out the team at 1. CMC, Neighbors, Metcalf, Mahomes, Rice. I think Connor's a great pick in this format, particular for hunting points at the beginning of the year. Evan Ingram, Brock Bowers, Shaheed Wicks, Ford, Sticky Ricky, Algier. I think Ford is also a great pick in this format if you're looking at points at the beginning of the season. Okay. Torsten says, haven't seen Flock's Kryptonite in a while. Do you think he's bankrupt? I actually saw him, like he liked one of my tweets or something. And his Twitter account was Flock's Kryptonite. Talked about this in the live stream last night. I was like, what the heck? This guy made a Twitter account, Flock's Kryptonite. And then I pulled it up, and in the bio, it said, had like an Underdog link, and it said use code Flock. And I was like, okay, this guy's helping me out. And then we checked it last night, and he had updated the bio to a bunch of random space things. So, was a little disappointing. Now, we are no longer getting the bump with Flock's Kryptonite, promoting code Flock. Okay. Let's move this over. Gibson goes 162. We're going to take Michael Wilson here at 164. Wilson does have a unique bye. We don't have another player with a week 11 bye. And we're going to figure it out. I actually do like our team. If we can get by the early weeks with some of these injured guys, which I think we have a shot to, I like the squad. Like the team at 4, we're bouncing him week 1. All right, we're at least scoring more points week 1. He'll have no Jonathan Brooks. He'll have no Nick Chubb. He'll have no TJ Hawkinson. He'll be rolling into week 1 with Chase Brown and Gus Edwards as his 2 running backs. So at least we got that edge. Okay. Judd says, yes, if y'all want another draft, we hit 600 likes on this live stream. We will fire up another draft after this. And we'll either do a $3 buy-in or a $100 buy-in, whatever y'all want. But if we hit 600 likes on the stream, we'll fire up another. Okay. Demario Douglas goes 171. Ray Davis off the board. We can go Bucky Irving. I think Braylon Allen is going to jump Bucky Irving in ADP. But at the same time, we do have a bunch of the week 12 buys. We don't really have any of the week 11. So we will take Bucky here at 173. We are more likely than not going to be going with one more running back. And we are going to be taking 2 more tight ends. Here's what we need with this team. All jokes aside, we can deal with Hollywood being out at the beginning of the year. If Hollywood misses a week, cool. If DeAndre Hopkins misses a week, we'll get over it. We have a shot to make it past week 1. Now, what we will not be able to overcome, more likely than not, is it may be extremely difficult for us to overcome Jahmyr Gibbs missing time. If Gibbs misses time, and we're having to rely on, actually, I guess we can have Achane, Mixon carry us through. Our running back depth beyond that's going to be very questionable. But we're just going to need Mixon and Achane to come through for us, for sure. Okay. Let's move this over. Chark off the board at 178. This is going to be a fine team. I'm feeling good about this. Stressing at first. We definitely need a running back that we like. We need 2 tight ends that aren't going to have a week 14 bye. But we'll see. And let me know also, are y'all going to want to see another $100 draft, or are y'all going to want us to do a $3 draft so more people can get in? Just spam the chat right now. Do you want a $3 or a $100 draft? We'll do whatever y'all want, but if we're going to do 100, I should probably enter now. That way we don't have to wait too long before it fills. Okay. 3, 300, 100. 3, 3, 300, 300, 100. 3, 300, 100. 300, 100, 100. 300, 300. 100, 3, 300. It does seem like more people want 100, unless I'm mistaken. How about this? The $3 drafts are really fast. We'll do a $3 draft right after this, and then we'll potentially hop into another 100. Last night, we streamed for 3 hours, so I'll probably be live for very long. Again tonight. I'm not taking likely. Jonnu, week 6 bye. We're definitely going to be able to find another tight end in the upcoming rounds that doesn't match that bye week. So we'll figure it out. J Mill says full BBR 12 team, 2 wide receiver, 2 running back, 1 flex. 105, Chase, St. Brown, Brees, Bijan. Hoping for HN Pacheco, 2-3 turn if we go wide receiver round 1. 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league. I would rank these guys Brees, Bijan, Chase, then Amon-Ra St. Brown, my friend. Okay. Smooth this over. Jonnu, then Isaiah likely goes right after. So now, like I said, this is an eliminator draft. Stacks, especially because it's a head-to-head matchup, week 17. Stacks really not going to matter much here. I would kind of actively avoid them, to be honest. And it's not about trying to chase the high ceiling for weeks 15, 16, 17. Instead, it's about trying to figure out what we are going to do to never have the worst team. So wide receiver, we have Jamar Chase, Stephon Diggs, Hollywood Brown, Curtis Samuel, DeAndre Hopkins, Jerry Jeudy, Michael Wilson. Running back, we have Jahmyr Gibbs, Devon Achane, Joe Mixon, Bucky Irving. Quarterback, we have Lawrence, Stafford, Deshaun. Tight end, we have Mark Andrews, Jonnu Smith. Well, Fatago, I'll see you in the 1v1, my guy. I'll see you there. Okay. So let's move this down. I am just running back tight end. Tracy injury. Elijah Mitchell no longer the second guy. Ben Sinnott, no production at the beginning of the year. I'm going to actually reach on Roshan here at pick 7. I mean, by week 7. Not getting drafted in every draft. And then we are going to queue up a tight ends. Gesicki. Knox. Theo's a rookie. Want to push down rookies. I mean, we could go Chig as well. We'll put Chig ahead of these guys. Juwan deal with an injury, so we kind of want him on the bottom. Theo, rookie. And Kraft dealing with an injury. So this is the tight end setup that we have right now. But we're going to go ahead. We'll hop in a $3 draft on Underdog real quick. Then we could potentially get in another $100 one. This is the Mini Schnauzer 6. This just dropped today and already has like 17,000 entrants. We're going to do the $3 buy-in, 15-second timer. This is a $3 buy-in. What, it was a $100,000 prize pool, unless I'm mistaken? Yeah, $100,000 prize pool. I think $10,000 for first place. So it is a pretty flat payout structure. David says JT or AJ Brown, 9th pick in a full PBR 12-team league. I'm going to go AJ Brown over JT. Previously, before Jahmyr Gibbs was injured, I was saying I thought it was interesting to go ahead and take Jahmyr Gibbs there. But now I think you just have to take AJ Brown. Okay. Okay. Let's move this down. We get pick 8. Pick 8 should be a really good spot. Now, the strategy here is definitely going to be different than the strategy that we had in the other draft. Okay. Dex says, in at 9 with you and just booked my hotel for the meetup. See you there. Hell yes, my guy. If you got a hotel for the meetup, just shoot me an email, mason.at flockfantasy.com. Let me know how many tickets you have, and your tickets will be free. Just email me some type of hotel confirmation. That way I could go, okay, yeah, this guy's definitely coming to Austin. And yeah, all you have to do is shoot me an email, and I'll put you down. Because like I said, the only reason we're doing tickets for the meetup is specifically so I can tell them venue how many people are going to be there. So yeah, shoot me an email and your tickets will be free, my guy. Okay, so Brees goes at 4, so we're actually not going to get Brees. Instead, we will get Bijan here at 8. Let's go. And of course, real quick, if y'all don't already know, we are hosting a Flock Fantasy meetup with myself and a bunch of other fantasy football creators in Austin, Texas, August 23rd. or 22nd. August 22nd. It's a Thursday. Why don't I just put all the details on the screen real quick? So if you're in San Antonio, if you're in Dallas, if you're in Houston, especially if you're in Austin, I expect to see you there at the meetup. We're giving away a bunch of free merch, half price beer. Should be a ton of fun. If you want to grab a ticket, flockfantasy.store. They're only $15, and we're just using them so we can tell the venue how many people are going to be coming. Okay. And like I said, if you're coming from out of town and you're getting a hotel, send me your hotel confirmation, and I'll save you as many free tickets as you want. Jahmyr Gibbs off the board at 16. We're going to have a very boring pick. We will take London. Shouldn't be a super unique combo the way the ADPs line up. Obviously, we're going all in on Atlanta here, so we're going to set up a prayer that Kirk Cousins turns this offense 180. Now, just a guy says BBM, third pick. Lamar, Tua, definitely agree, only going 2 quarterbacks there. H.N. Montgomery, White, Mitchell, Madison. I was previously taking Madison earlier this offseason based off the reports that we've had out of Vegas as of late. It does seem like Madison should be a little less intriguing as a round 18 pick unless I've missed something that came out today. Hill, Ayuk, JSN, Dobbs, Myers, Bateman, Dodson, Wandale, Dortch, Andrews, Komet. Do I suck? The only thing that I'm not a fan of there, my friend, is I'm fine with the Greg Dortch last pick. The Alexander Madison one and Elijah Mitchell. I do think that those players are kind of trending in the wrong direction, and I'm probably not going to be going with those guys, which I had found myself drafting some Alexander Madison around 18 earlier in the offseason. But you have some of the other running backs there getting hype. Okay. So we have Barkley 21, HN 22. God. I just love underdog drafts. Let me take that back. Obviously, y'all know I like underdog drafts. I love the 15-second timer ones. They just go so fast. They feel action-packed. I can definitely see if I was new to underdog wanting to get in a 30-second one instead. But since I've done over 1,000 underdog drafts, probably maybe closing in on 2,000 over the past 4 years. No, I've probably done like 1,500. Here, we're going to take Pittman. Actually, no, we'll take Diggs. But yeah, since I've done so many, I'm just used to the 15-second. I can get used to the 15-second timer. I freaking love it. Okay. Let's move this over. Isaiah says 12-team at PBR, 2, 4, and 5 are taken. Which pick do I take? You either take pick 1 or pick 6. For the love of God, don't fire yourself in the second half. Steven says, how do you do a mock draft with my league settings? It's almost impossible, my guy. Your best shot would be hop in our Discord and just hope that people there kind of understand the format that y'all are in and will draft with you. We're going to go ahead. We will take Josh Allen at pick 41. I think taking Allen here, it's kind of a no-brainer. 4 straight years of 390-plus points. And if you get him falling to the middle of the 4th, there's a chance that Kincaid makes it to you at pick 56. And there's a chance that Keon Coleman makes it to you at pick 80. So, yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and we're going to take Josh Allen. And, of course, real quick, if you don't know what we're doing, we are drafting on Underdog Fantasy. We've done this every single day for years. By far and away, my favorite place to draft. Their best balls to no time commitment during the year. So I draft hundreds of teams every year. So I won $150,000 on Underdog 2 years ago. And if you want to hop in a draft with us, you can find that link in the description, comment section, live chat. If you use code FLOCK, you're going to get my 2024 rankings, 2024 draft guide, 2024 ADP consensus cheat sheet. And on top of that, if you use code FLOCK, you are going to be getting a special Christian McCaffrey pick'em more than less than half a total yard. You do need to be in one of these states, however, if you want to draft on Underdog. You can see the map there. But once we take Josh Allen, like I said, the prayer that we are sending up is Dalton Kincaid makes it to us at pick 56, which we will see. We'll see. Now, Lazuli Gray says, how do you feel about Cooper Kupp this year? Wide range of outcomes. I've seen that in ESPN drafts, he's going in round 4. There, I really like him. I'm not drafting him in round 2 of Underdog drafts, though. I can't do it. Okay, so sadly, we do not get Dalton Kincaid making it to us. So we will have to pivot. We'll have to find something else to do. Ridley goes 54. We could go Terry. What's safe with Terry is it sounds like there's no shot that Ayuk's going over there. He goes, so I think we are just going to take James Cook. We can maybe make an argument, okay, we have done Dalton Kincaid, taking James Cook here. What if we get a week where Josh Allen has 2 rushing touchdowns, and at the same time we get James Cook with 80 total yards. And I don't know, a receiving touchdown from Allen, maybe. Tresner says, get Cook. Dork, you have Allen. Maybe this is dumb, but I think that there are a few better insults than calling somebody a dork. It's like I'm young enough where nobody growing up was using the word dork, and you only kind of saw it on movies from the 90s. So for me, it's just kind of like a funny thing. Like, I see the word dork, and I'm sure maybe if I was growing up and I was a kid and I got called dork once, then maybe I wouldn't have the same take. But dork's a pretty funny word. Steven says, so would HN be worthy with his limited touches? HN definitely not as valuable there in a half point per carry format in comparison to some of the other guys. But still, yeah, I definitely would push him up a bit. It's either Rome or Kittle for me here. I think we go Kittle with the news that we potentially see the Brandon Ayuk trade still happen. The Goodfellow says, dork is a friendly jab between friends. Yeah, dork is a good word, to be honest. The only time I think I've ever been called a dork is my aunt uses the word dork a lot. She calls us dorks. But Neil says Tresner equals dork. Never read anything more accurate my entire life, my friend. But now at wide receiver, we're sitting with London Diggs. Running back, we have Bijan, James Cook. Tight end, we have Kittle. So y'all know in the Eliminator, we were talking a lot about bye weeks, saying, okay, we need to make sure that we're not going to have a single week where we're just complete toast. Here, this is a draft where it's weeks 1 through 14 for the regular season. Then you advance to weeks 15, 16, 17, where that's where the money's really made. And that's the upside that we need to be optimizing for. So here, this format I don't really care about buys, this tournament in particular, which you can see with Bijan having a week 12 bye, Drake London having a week 12 bye, Josh Allen having a week 12 bye, James Cook having a week 12 bye. Is it ideal? Probably not. Is it something I feel like we need to dramatically change our draft strategy to account for? Probably not. Okay. Let's move this over. We are back up on the clock. Kyler's not going to be in play for us. I think we just go ahead. We take Ladd. Obviously, Ladd may not give you much at the beginning of the year, but where we are kind of trying to optimize for the final 3 weeks, I think it's a fine pick. Okay. Jayan says, currently starting the University of Texas in my road to glory. If I was ever going to play video games again, I think it would have to be. There's no video game that has tempted me to play in forever, but it would have to be the college football game. I don't even know exactly what it's called, but I would love to just make a QB. I know I saw other people making a lot of people. Like I saw a bunch of things on Instagram Reels. People making like an underdog player and never getting to play. I would just go straight blue chip. I would go QB, send me to UT, hook 'em horns, and we'd figure it out. I'm going to take the disgusting pick. I will take Curtis Samuel. I think Jordan Addison is 10 million times better than Curtis Samuel. 10 bajillion. Can't even use the correct English to describe how much better I think Jordan Addison is. But specifically with Josh Allen, and now that you have the J.J. McCarthy injury as well, I will mix in Samuel. On any team that I don't have Josh Allen, I'm for sure going to go Jordan Addison instead. Okay. Fresh Dollar Bill says, are the Longhorns cooked with all the injuries so far? This is a JN question. JN, let me know, my guy. Are we cooked? Keep in mind, I am a horrible UT fan. I'll get into it once the season starts and once we are good. To be honest with you, I'm not even that invested until we're good. So I know absolutely nothing. I saw that we had a freshman running back, tearing Achilles. Outside of that, I don't know anything. RG7 says, I'm first overall. Am I crazy for winning Brees? I think so. I think if you're worried about the cap strain with CMC, if you're worried about the Lamb contract, I'm still going to go Tyreek over Brees. I have Brees ranked at 4. But happy to see you, my friend. Okay. Chase Brown goes to pick 101. I'm assuming we see Vinny go with Daniels, considering they took Terry. Pollard goes. We're going to go ahead. You know what? We should have taken Brian Robinson. I know. Yeah, we should have taken Brian. Or Javonte Williams. To take Chase Brown, we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys through the first 9 rounds with a week 12 bye. Not the end of the world, but if we have if we have Brian Robinson, Zach Moss pretty close together, might as well take the guy that doesn't line up with the same bye week that we have with all these other players. Okay, Javonte goes 107. And real quick, if we hit 900 likes on this stream, we are going to fire up another draft after this one. That next draft would be another $100 draft. So if you want to see it, make sure you go down there, hit that like button. Okay. Devin Singletary off the board, 110. We can go Purdy, pair up Purdy with Kittle if we want. Now that Spears is off, I think that's exactly what we're going to do. Niners dealing with a ton of injuries, obviously, but last I checked, they still project to be the highest scoring offense in the NFL. It's best ball, so obviously taking 2 viable quarterbacks is for sure in play. So we will have Purdy stacked up with George Kittle here. Reed says, tell Underdog to verify me, gang. My guy, if anybody has signed up to Underdog lately, how long has it taken them to verify you? I've made an account. I've been playing on Underdog for like 5 years, so I have no freaking idea how long. I would not remember how long it took them to verify me. But if you have recently joined Underdog, how long did it take them to verify you? Okay. After we take Purdy, you have a little bit of a run on wide receivers. You have Edwards, Gus, Myers, Blake Corum, Ezekiel Elliott afterwards. In terms of the guys that we're looking at coming up, I think we do have a lot of flexibility here. The only thing that we can't do is we cannot take a quarterback. So we are running back, wide receiver, tight ends. If we were to go with like Goddard, we're probably done drafting tight ends. Dowdle goes 125. This isn't a draft like the last one where points in weeks 1, 2, 3 kind of matters as much as points in weeks 15, 16, 17. So here, like Nick Chubb's definitely in play, where points in weeks 15, 16, 17 matter much more than points at the beginning of the season. I would probably prefer Goddard. So let's see what Vinny does. Vinny goes forward. So we are going to get Dallas Goddard here as our second tight end. And we will be done drafting tight ends now. And we will be exclusively running back, wide receiver through the rest of this draft. Running back, we have Bijan, James Cook, Zach Moss. Wide receiver, we have London, Diggs, Ladd McConkey, Curtis Samuel. Quarterback, we have Josh Allen paired up with Curtis Samuel, James Cook. We have Brock Purdy paired up with George Kittle. Tommy says, when I signed up like 3 years ago, I remember it only taking an hour or so, if that. Yeah, I don't remember at all. But let's move this over. So for us, I mean, obviously it'd be great to see like Frymuth and Schultz go off the board, but we are going to be choosing between running back, wide receiver. When we do have this many players on a week 12 bye, even if buys don't matter that much in this tournament, I still will prefer to monitor it and just ignore it. But Pat Frymuth goes 134. Eckler off 135. Downs goes. We'll take Jalen Polk here. Bad offense, but a path to be the wide receiver one in said offense. It sounds like New England's no longer an option for Ayuk, so I think Polk is a little bit safer than he previously was. KJ says, how to draft Sunday, 12-team happy BR, 3 wide receiver double flex, where we have Purdy, Bijan, Chase Brown, Dowdle, Ford, Debo, Evans, Amari, Kittle, with Pickens and Allen in the flex. Benches Dobbs, Thielen, Justice Hill, Bateman, plus running back 2 leftovers. What are your thoughts and any trades? So in a league where we can start up to 5 wide receivers, obviously wide receiver depth is going to be a lot more important here than it otherwise would be. So to be able to start Debo, Evans, Amari, Pickens, Allen every single week, I think you're in a phenomenal spot. Like the Purdy, Kittle stack, like the hero running back with just upside shots at running back 2. I know this does not help you, my friend, so I never try to give this answer, but I think you've already done a phenomenal job optimizing specifically for your format. So I don't really have much outside of some of those names at the bottom end of your team, such as Justice Hill, Rashad Bateman. I'm not the biggest fan of, and I probably would continuously churn the roster down near there at the bottom end. But outside of that, I'm probably not doing much. So we are running back, wide receiver. We are going to go with Sticky Ricky. We have Brock Purdy. It sounds like there's still the potential trade of Brandon Ayuk. But real quick, we have a special guest. Girl, you came over here just to leave? Come here. Come here, girlie. What are you doing? Come over here. I'll move this stuff, girl. I'll move it. Come here. Come here. What are you doing, girl? Okay. Tell everybody hi. Tell them to sign up to Underdog. Tell them what code they need to use. Say code FLOCK. There's no other code that is even valid. Only Flock. Right? Is that what it is? I know. Do you want to go out? There you go, Billy. Okay. So we are about to be back up here. Still just wide receiver, running back. Leggett goes. I've been drafting a ton of Xavier Leggett in this range. Marshawn Lloyd is banged up. I don't know if we're getting a decent enough price point on him here. We'll take Marshawn Lloyd. Running back that doesn't have a week 12 bye. Didn't really draft him previously just because I love the price point with Josh Jacobs. But it is a very good offense. He was a decent prospect coming out of California, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Now, let's move this down. And another like tiebreaker is I never really see Marshawn Lloyd fall further than this. Whereas I've been in plenty of drafts where Adam Thielen has fallen like 2 rounds further. So I think that there'll be other spots where we can get Adam Thielen. Okay. Let's move this down. Quentin Johnston, 171. Burden off the board. We are just running back, wide receiver. I think Wan'Dale's an easy pick here. I don't necessarily know if we want to continue to just slam some of these rookies. We already have 4 rookies on this squad with Ladd McConkey, Marshawn Lloyd, Jalen Polk, and Sticky Ricky. So maybe getting someone that's going to roll at the beginning of the season, such as Wan'Dale, makes a lot more sense than going like Jalen McMillan, Malachi Corley, Audric Estime, Kamani Vidal. So I'll take Wan'Dale. Stan says, are the Island Boys really your brothers, or is that a joke? My guy, it's a joke. If the Island Boys were actually my brothers, I would have used it for content way long ago. If Hawk 2 was really my girlfriend, I would have used it for content way long ago. Trust me, my guy. Okay. Let's move this down. Eric Gray goes. We are just running back, wide receiver. Vidal, not draftable here. I don't want another rookie. Tracy, not draftable anymore. We're going to take Dameon Pierce. I have been drafting an okay amount of Pierce here. Now, let's move this over. And can someone let me know, have we hit 900 likes on the stream? Are we firing up another draft after this? As if so, we probably are just going to go ahead and hop in the $100 draft on my phone real quick so we don't have to wait for it to fill. Okay. Let's move this down. Looks like we have not hit 900, so we're not going to enter in one right now. But we'll see. Now, Bryce Young goes 189. In terms of what we're going to do here with our next 2 picks, we are going to go with 1 running back and 1 wide receiver. I think wide receiver, we're okay where you don't need to go with 2 more. We have London, we have Diggs, we have Ladd, we have Samuel, we have Polk, we have Sticky Ricky, we have Wan'Dale. Actually, we may need to go 2 more. We'll see. We will see. It's either going to be a 2682 or this is going to be a 2592. Steven says, saw your video today about James Cook. Is he still an RB2 or RB3 in my league? He took 237 carries last year. The top of my draft's 220 carries. 100%, I think in your format, you need to go through and you need to take James Cook if you can. I would take James Cook in a half point per carry league in round 3 if he's the best running back that's available there. Okay. And yeah, whenever I'm answering Steven's questions, guys, please don't take it to your league. He plays in a half point per carry format where things are just wildly different. Okay. We are going to take Hyatt here. Pair him up with Wan'Dale, make a consolidated bet that maybe this Giants passing offense is better than people expect. Maybe Malik Neighbors gets injured or is worse than people expect, which I think Neighbors is probably going to be great, but of course we never know for sure. Sean says, hey Flock, I have a 10-team half PBR, 3 wide receiver, single flex draft coming up, and on pick 9. Would you rather take double wide receiver at the turn, AJ Brown, Wilson, Puka, or running back wide receiver? 3 wide receiver, single flex format. if you get a running back like Taylor or Barkley there at the beginning of the second, I probably do go ahead and take him, specifically in a 10-team format, but I do think you probably go A.J. Brown and pick 9. But 20 more likes, we fire up another draft. Y'all want one. Yes, and if we hit 2,000 likes, we will get the Island Boys on here. They're staying in the next room. And here, if we're looking at running back versus receiver, Tank Bigsby is actually someone I'm drafting a decent amount of in round 18. I don't know what we should do. I probably end up chickening it out and going with the running back. Okay, we're going to chicken it out, and we are going to chicken it out. Why can I not talk? Do we go Prince? Yeah, we'll take him. I haven't touched him much, but it is what it is. Okay, so let's go ahead. We are going to get in a $100 draft real quick. This is the big Eliminator. This is the draft that it's not about having the highest ceiling weeks 15, 16, 17. Instead, it's about just making sure you're never at the very bottom of the league. So rookies are going to be a little less valuable, and you are also going to see a little less value going to those injured guys such as Nick Chubb, TJ Hawkinson, et cetera, that should have really high ceilings for the fantasy football playoffs. Here, that doesn't particularly matter that much. Okay. Okay, we are pick 5, so same pick that we were at in the last one, I think. Okay. Let's move this over. And this is going to be a little bit of a slower draft just because this is a draft that is 30 seconds in comparison to 15, like the last one. Yes, I will change the buy-in. Thank you for reminding me, Teresa. It'd be great if that could be automated, but sadly, it can't. This is the $100 buy-in. But CMC still goes off at pick 1. That doesn't really change. Okay, let's move this over. St. Brown goes. So Chase, we will go ahead. We will pick him at 5. I understand that some people are concerned with him at the moment, but I'm a little more concerned regarding the McCarthy injury negatively impacting what we should expect with Justin Jefferson. So we're going to go ahead and we'll just lock in Chase. I'm okay with it. Okay. After we take Chase, you have Bijan, Jefferson, A.J. Brown, Brees, all off the board. SSJ Yeti says Jefferson's going to request a trade. My guy, Jefferson just got paid. There's no way that happens. Literally no shot. Puka Nacua off the board at pick 12. Yes, John. Happy to see you, my guy, getting in the Hundo draft. Let me know if you're in this one with us. Steven says, crazy based on last year's stats, the top 25 wide receiver running back fantasy points. The only wide receivers that made this list are Lamb, Hill, St. Brown, Puka, DJ Moore. So I totally get with where you're coming from, taking running back all the way. Another crazy thing is look at how many freaking points those quarterbacks scored, specifically Josh Allen, Lamar, Jalen Hurts. Like in a half point per carry league, take the quarterbacks that are going to run the ball a ton, take the running backs, both at the very top and in the middle rounds. And I think last we talked, you had 3 flex spots in your league. And I want every single flex spot filled up by a running back, you know. in a half point per carry format, you can go through and you can really abuse and exploit that league. So I guess it's interesting to point out that you have Jonathan Taylor off the board at pick 10 in this draft. Oh, for the love of God. Okay, Jahmyr Gibbs goes, so we don't have to stress about it. I was going to get a little worried. We will go ahead. We will take Chris Olave. Now, what's tough about taking Olave here is we are putting ourselves in a spot where we are already stacking these week 12 buys. And like I said, in a regular draft, the bye weeks don't matter. Here with the Eliminator, even if we have a phenomenal team, if everybody has a week 12 bye, there's no way we can make it past week 12 and we get bounced then. So figure it out. Okay. Cooper Kupp off the board at 21. Devontae Adams goes 22. Ryan says, my Tracy exposure is off the charts. Pray for me. I am assuming I didn't draft much Tracy this year. I honestly didn't even check after the injury just because I was assuming that I didn't have much of him, but let me double check. I have him in 6% of drafts, but I think I took him in a high stakes draft. So the buy-ins make him my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They make him my 10th most invested into running back by dollar amount. So, yeah, not good for me, even though we only have him in 6% of drafts. I guess I just got stuck with him in a high-stakes draft. Okay. Vinny says, Mason, would you rather do 33 mini schnauzers or one big eliminator? It depends. So, for me personally, I would rather do one big eliminator than 33 schnauzers. But if your objective on Underdog this year is, I just want to practice for my main fantasy football league, I just want to have some fun, I would highly recommend you just to do 33 schnauzers. Obviously, I'm sponsored by Underdog. I'm an Underdog freaking fiend. I just draft teams all day. So I'm going to draft probably the same amount of teams regardless. So I'd kind of rather get in a couple $100 drafts so we can get some money down. Okay. So yes, we are going to go ahead. We will take HN here. I understand that in the Eliminator, this is a running back that maybe is a little less appealing if you think that he's just going to have massive spike weeks and then duds. But it is what it is. I think going wide receiver, HN is going to be something I like. Even if y'all know, especially in this format, I do prefer Kyron, but Kyron goes before. LC says, Warren for Mostert, we have HN and Jacobs. Full PPR, probably Warren. Non-PPR, Mostert. Half PPR, up to you. Steven says, quarterbacks are 6-point passing touchdown, 1 point per completion. Had Allen last year and he dropped 1,050. What is that from a points per game perspective? That's 61. Yes, I would be going Josh Allen around 2. If that's the case. I would be going elite running back round 1, Josh Allen round 2. Okay. Now, after we take HN, in terms of what we want making it to us at pick 44, we are a little bit balanced here. We're not stressing too much. And the other draft, we did have Stephon Diggs making it to us at pick 44. I think that had to do with people not wanting to get the week 14 bye under their belt. What we would probably be looking to avoid here myself is probably Higgins with the week 12 bye. We already have 2 wide receivers with that bye. I don't know if I love having Chase and Higgins on the same squad and then seeing maybe... Okay, we're going to go with Kelsey. I'm not going to go Christian Kirk. Same thing. Kirk has the same week 12 bye that lines up with both Chase and Olave. I don't want to get bounced week 12 just because all our wide receivers are on the same path. And like I said, I don't love the elite level tight ends in this format in particular. But I think Kelsey at 44, when he outscores the other wide receivers that are left, such as Kirk and Terry McLaurin, I think it's fine. Thomas says 10-team PBR non-tight end premium, 2 wide receivers, 4 flex. I have the 102. Hill, Chase, CMC, St. Brown, Jefferson, Bijan are definitely gone already. Keep one. Lamb in the first. Evans in the 12th. Olave in the 19th or Laporta in the 20th. If you have the 102, I probably keep either Olave or Laporta. Just because if you're able to get, say, like Brees or Lamb at pick 2, it's kind of what it is. It's not worth keeping Lamb there. If you could potentially draft him there or draft Brees Hall there instead. And then you get Laporta for free pretty much. Max says, I have Lamar. Do I trade Rice for Flowers? Probably. Yeah. Okay, so let's move this down. Mark Andrews goes off the board at pick 50. Calvin Ridley goes 51. So typically I am preferring the 3 quarterback and 3 tight end builds here. But if we get the ability to go McBride or Lamar, and it's a very unique combo with Kelsey, specifically with how ADP is set up, I think we are going to go in that direction. I would prefer going with Lamar here rather than McBride, and giving ourselves the ability to still wait a very long time and draft 2 tight ends. So now wide receiver, we have Chase, Olave. Running back, we have Achane. Tight end, we have Kelsey. And quarterback, we have Lamar. I like the squad. I like it. Scott says, London or Laporta is a keeper in a 10-team PPR format. In a 10-team league, if you can only start 2 wide receivers and 1 flex, Laporta. If it's a league where you start like 3 wide receivers and 2 flex, then London. But 2 wide receiver, 1 flex, 10-team format, wide receiver is going to be the easiest thing to ever get. Okay. Anthony Richardson off the board at pick 59. And also in this kind of league, this is going to be where I'd be a little more risk adverse in terms of drafting the potential suspended players such as Rashee Rice and Jordan Addison. I understand that Rashee Rice looks like he's maybe a little less likely to get suspended than he previously was. But yeah, I'd probably be a little less likely to take him. Now Deontay off the board, pick 65. Kenneth Walker, Xavier Worthy. If you're looking the way that bye weeks line up, week 6, probably one that we want to avoid currently with Achane and Kelsey. You also have the injury to Hollywood. Week 12, probably want to avoid that with Kamara. It's either going to be Rome or Montgomery here for us. If we knew that Gibbs was going to be missing a considerable amount of time, I think it would just be super easy to take Montgomery. But without that knowledge, instead, I think we just do go Rome Odunze, especially if you put any validity to the concerns with Keenan Allen's weight with the report that came out today. So we'll go ahead and we will take Rome here. Montgomery goes immediately after pick 69. Full transparency, Montgomery may have been the right pick. We could have easily made a mistake taking Rome. I think in the style contest where we're shooting for upside in weeks 15, 16, 17, it's an easy decision to take Rome there. In this style league, it very much could be the case that Montgomery is the guy you should take. If we were to go with Kamara on the way back around, it's probably the last guy we want to take with the Week 12 bye, having Chase, Olave, and Kamara all in the same squad. James Conner goes to pick 73 as well, so James Conner skyrocketing up. Kamara off at 74. As we mentioned previously, the rookies are going to be a little bit less valuable in this format. Ramadre goes 75. If we are looking at maybe rookies that would fit this squad in terms of the way that the bye weeks line up, Ladd would definitely be preferable over Brian Thomas and Keon Coleman, specifically because we kind of want to be avoiding injured players and being a little less likely to take the rookies here. I think we go ahead and take JSN, who hopefully has a role at the beginning of the season. Week 10 bye for us. So we will take Jackson Smith and Jigba here at 77. Naim says, crazy how cheap James Conner was a month ago. Yeah, I think James Conner's a great pick in this kind of format, or he's a great pick in like the marathon. I'm not drafting at this price James Conner at all when it comes to what you have at like in Best Ball Mania, where we're trying to optimize for weeks 15, 16, 17. Because I think by the time you get to the weeks that matter most, such as weeks 15, 16, 17, Trey Benson should be expanding his workload. Okay. Now, that team at 9's going with the anchor RB to an extreme route. They take Brees, then followed up with London, Diggs, Amari, Rice, Deontay, and Addison. So very interesting. Personally, I probably prefer our start, where we're sitting with Chase, Olave, Rome, JSN at wide receiver. Running back, we have Achane. Tight end, we have Kelsey. We have Lamar at quarterback. So I think we have a very well-balanced start, which is specifically what we are wanting here. Okay. So Najee off the board at 83. Jameson goes 84. And Laura says, so I'll see you in 9 days, bud. However, my draft is this Sunday. Have Richardson as my keeper. Would you take a second quarterback? Probably not. I mean, I think if you have Richardson, if it's a 4-point passing touchdown format, you're probably starting him regardless of matchup. Now, of course, if you have a very deep bench, I think go ahead and pull the trigger on a second guy. But if it's like a shallow redraft league bench where you expect like 10 plus quarterbacks to be on waivers at all times, I think Richardson's in the tier. You don't have to. But excited to see you at the meetup, my guy. Okay. That team at 9 decides to go Hollywood for their 7th wide receiver through the first 8 rounds. So more likely than not, we are going to end up with a running back here at pick 92. Now, in terms of what running backs we're going to be looking for, Jonathan Brooks will be less valuable in this style format than he would be otherwise. Raheem Mostert would obviously kind of line up with Achane. I don't know how excited we are about that, but I'm more excited about it than taking Samuel. So we will go ahead and we will take Raheem Mostert. We'll chase the points from last year, which probably is not the best idea, but it is what it is. Now we just need to figure out how to score running back points in week 6. I think I probably would have preferred Swift or Zamir, but it is what it is. Okay. David Njoku off the board to pick 93. Ryan goes with the pseudo bully tight end strategy. So that's actually something that I really do like when we're looking at pick 52, pick 93 in Best Ball Mania, where we are trying to optimize for the final 3 weeks. But we'll see. We'll see. Now, after we take Mostert, you have Njoku, Pollard, Curtis Samuel, all off. Let's move this over. If Brooks were to make it to us, It is something that we could consider. It really comes down to how much time you're expecting Jonathan Brooks to be missing. You should just get an absurd amount of points as well if you're looking at the quarterbacks here with Dak and Daniels. Now, in terms of the quarterbacks that I would be preferring here, I probably wouldn't take Daniels based off us assuming that maybe rookies start a little bit slower and in a little bit stronger in this style format. That's not necessarily what we're looking for. And we have Lamar on the same bye as well. So I think instead we're going to take Dak Prescott. We're just going to lock in an absurd amount of quarterback points. Obviously, going QB in round 5 and QB in round 9 isn't the cheapest cost, but I do think if we really wanted to, we can get away with like a round 17 quarterback as well. So now quarterback, we have Lamar, Dak. Wide receiver, we have Chase, Olave, Rome, JSN. Running back, we have Achane, Mostert. Tight end, we have Kelsey. Okay. So that team that's at 9 that went Brees as the anchor running back, and then London, Diggs, Amari, Rice, Deontay, Addison, Hollywood, they just followed it up with Javonte Williams at 105. You'd assume that they don't take another wide receiver specifically in this style format, but you never know. Okay. Chase Brown goes. I actually really do like the Dak pick just because I think we lock up so many points at quarterback every week. And we definitely can get away with only having to take 2, right? And if it was Best Ball Mania, for sure I'm not considering 3. Okay. Dallas Goedert goes off 108. For us, what's probably ideal is at least over the next few rounds, seeing as many quarterbacks go as possible. Like there's no way we can take Caleb, Purdy, Lawrence, Tua. Question is, if Jonathan Brooks makes it to us at 116, can we pull the trigger on Jonathan Brooks? Big thing is we need him back by week 6. And we'd hopefully need some production in week 6. Shaheed, I don't know if we would love when our first 2 picks were wide receivers in round 12. Jonathan Brooks does go at pick 112. I would have taken Brooks if he would have made it to us at 116. I would have sent up a prayer that the man stayed healthy. Or didn't stay healthy, but you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. Singletary goes 114. I really wanted Devin Singletary. Absolute bummer for us to not get him. Shaheed, like I said, not a big fan of that buy setup. I think we're instead going to go ahead. We're going to take Jacoby Myers. Actually, no. The bye weeks are all the same regardless. Yeah, we'll take Myers. I think you have a floor when it comes to the target volume. Obviously, Bowers coming in. Probably not great for Jacoby Myers because Bowers should get a lot of red zone work. So the Myers touchdown rate is more likely than not going to come down, especially with how bad this offense should be. But we'll take him here anyway. But what's going to make it back? So there, Jerome Ford was actually the running back I was hoping that was going to make it back to us at 125. There are a few awkward running backs that are less exciting in this format because they're long-term upside, such as Blake Corum, Trey Benson. I can't take Blake Corum. Our only 2 running backs right now sitting with the week 6 bye. We're trying to cover that week 6 production. If Shaheed makes it to us at 125, I'm taking Shaheed. If Dontavian Wicks makes it to us there, we're taking Dontavian Wicks. Gus Edwards would have been my preferred pick if we could have gotten him. I see who we are more likely than not going to go with because I'm assuming the wide receivers go before we're on the clock, but we'll see. Wicks goes 122. Eckler 123. Do we take Shaheed here? AD Mitchell goes. What's going to be on the way back around? We go Shaheed. We have to take another receiver. Week 12 is just absolute hell for us. I'm not going to do it. We're going to take Zeke instead. We're just going to hopefully lock in some touches every single week. If we didn't have Chase, I'm for sure doing it. But when we have Chase, Olave both in week 12, if we take Shaheed at this point, we're so behind at running back. We're so behind wanting 3 tight ends. And we put ourselves in a position where we only have 3 wide receivers to play in week 12. So I think Zeke is the pick. Now at running back, we have Achane, Mostert, Zeke. Wide receiver, we have Chase, Olave, Rome, JSN, Jacoby. Kelsey at tight end, and Lamar and Dak at QB. Okay. This is scary. Carlos coming out says, hey, Mason, in a 10-team keeper league, standard full PBR where we have Gibbs and Laporta capped, would you risk Harrison in round 1 to stack with Kyler? Oh, for sure I'd be taking Harrison in round 1 if it's going to be a keeper league where you have multiple keepers, because then it's more like a round 3 pick, which at that point I think Harrison's a phenomenal cost. Okay. Fafu says, would it preferred if you went Edwards than Shaheed after instead of Myers? Yeah, but the thing is, when Shaheed has an ADP of 108, I'm never expecting him to make it to us at 125. So I agree with you. If we're looking at it with 2020 hindsight, probably does make more sense to go Gus Edwards where we decided to pass on him. But we just didn't know he was going to make it to us. Okay. So Mike Williams, Jahan Dotson, both off the board. Schultz goes 133. So if we're looking at running backs on the way back around, I really just don't think we can take another 6. Week 6 bye. I don't know if we can take Corum. I don't know if we can take Chandler. Benson's one of those guys that won't have a role at the beginning of the season. You're hoping at the end of the year he's going to crush, which is less valuable in this format. So it is going to be a tough spot for what we're going to do here. Corum goes 135. Pretty good for us. You're the bomb. Takes Tyler Algier despite having 0 quarterbacks so far. Mooney goes good for us. It's a week 12 bye wide receiver that we probably don't want. Naeem says, is the 1v1 final inspired by the 1v1 playoff in the flock tournaments? I'd like to think so. Probably not, but I'd like to pretend. Chandler goes, so thank God the one running back that we really wanted in Zach Charbonnet does make it to us here. If Charbonnet didn't make it to us, I was going to panic and I was maybe going to cry on the stream. But getting Charbonnet here at 140, I think is just an absolute no-brainer, specifically for this setup, where Charbonnet should hopefully have a role from week-to-week perspective. Highest ceiling if you were to have a Kenneth Walker injury. Week 10 bye, where we're not having to deal with that elsewhere at running back, that is. We have a couple week 10 bye receivers. But Charbonnet is the perfect fit for this squad. I think it's still probably a little too early to go with another quarterback. Yeah, that was exactly what we needed here. And like I said, I think we can get away in this format with taking 3 quarterbacks, even though we have Lamar and Dak. But in the instance that we do that, it's going to be at the very end of the draft. We're not doing so anytime soon. So usually you'd see some week 14 buys falling to us in this format, which may happen with Downs, but Downs dealing with the ankle injury obviously is a whole lot less appealing. But we don't have any week 14 buys, so that's other than Lamar. But outside of quarterback, we can definitely be going in that direction. Mr. Pickle Hut Fader says, how much money do you spend on drafts tonight? We did 2 $100 drafts and we did 2 $3 drafts. So $206, my friend. Now, the real question is, how much money did we win in drafts tonight? I'm assuming roughly about $50,000, but we'll see 12 months from now. Hardell says, how many likes for another draft? We get 1,200 likes. We'll fire up another draft after this one. So if you have not done so already, go down there, hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. Khalil Herbert goes 147. Jaleel off the board. Jalen Wright not in play for us. Stafford not in play. How bad of a pick is Stafford? How bad of it is it truly? Quarterbacks that make it back around to Stafford just scores so many more points than them. This is probably bad. Going QB in round 5, 9, and 13 is for sure something that you do not want to be doing in your regular redraft league. Duh. Probably in most underdog tournaments, including any tournament where you're specifically set up for the fantasy football playoffs, it is bad, for sure. This is the one instance, smaller field tournament where we are just looking for a very high floor from a week-to-week perspective, locking in essentially at least 20 points every single week at quarterback, and maybe even more by having this trio of players all on separate buys. I think maybe isn't horrible. In terms of the opportunity cost on the other guys that we're passing on like Josh Downs, Xavier Legette at wide receiver. Legette would have been my pick, but the thing is, and I think Legette's easily the pick in like Best Ball Mania with this construction. The issue is Legette's probably not giving you anything at the beginning of the season. I think we see some quarterbacks go relatively soon. So we will see. We will see. Obviously, now we cannot take another quarterback. We are in struggle bus. How many more rounds do we have? Because I don't feel good about taking fewer than 6 running backs. I don't feel good about taking 2 tight ends. We get round 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We have 5 picks left. We for sure at minimum need 2 more wide receivers. We for sure at minimum need 1 more running back and 1 more tight end. So I think we either get 6 running backs with this team or we get 3 tight ends. We cannot have both. So this will be a squad that Travis Kelce, for the love of God, you need to hold down the fort for us, my guy. We need Kelce to crush if this team wants to win. Obviously, we're still going to grab another tight end. We have to make sure he's not on a week 6 bye. I think the only tight end on week 6 bye that's left is Parkinson. And Jonnu as well. I forgot about Jonnu. Rodgers goes. Bucky Irving off 161. Gibson goes 162. Douglas. I think what's the report with Henry? Dealing with a minor injury. Oh, God dang it. Let's go Bateman. We don't really have many week 14 buys. We know we need to at least take 1 more wide receiver. We get him in here. And there's a chance that Hunter Henry makes it back around to us. We'll see. Okay, Baker, Levis go. For us, obviously, seeing quarterbacks go is phenomenal. Platinum Pete says, how many points per game do you think Jonathan Brooks gets? To be completely honest with you, I think points per game is almost irrelevant for Jonathan Brooks. I think what is maybe a much better question is, what is Jonathan Brooks' points per game in weeks 9 through 17? Which there, I think Jonathan Brooks could be a mid to high end RB2. But if you look at the points per game that you're going to be getting with this first few games back, it's going to dilute the overall season. So I think for me to try to put his ranking from a points per game perspective is probably not a fair thing. Okay. Fields off the board at pick 169. Noah Fant goes 170. So a big eliminator, small field contest. We're trying to chase the highest floor possible, not necessarily trying to optimize for stealing weeks 15, 16, 17. I think we go Hunter Henry or Tyler Conklin. That way we can call it a day at tight end. Right now we are dealing with 2 week 12 buys a wide receiver. We have 2-week 14 buys at quarterback and receiver. Let's practice Tuesday. Isn't expected to be serious. We'll just go ahead. We will take Hunter Henry and hope that he can cover us and hope that Kelsey can hold down the fort. And we don't really need the massive spike weeks from Kelsey. We just need the man to at least go out there and get us 8 points a contest. Let's not have too many 4-point weeks for Kelsey this season. And then after we go Henry, we're probably done at tight ends, because specifically with this contest, I think it's probably better for us to go ahead and take 6 running backs with this build than 3 tight ends. Okay, but K-Dot off the board at 177. Now, great for us to see any quarterbacks or tight ends go. Tyler Conklin goes 178s. Gino goes, come on, let's continue to see this blue and purple streak going. Platinum Pete says, what do you think is the best quarterback, wide receiver / tight end stack? I mean, you can go about it a couple different ways. You can look for your favorite QB tight end stack from a value perspective. You can look at your favorite QB wide receiver stack from a value perspective, or just the straight up best. I think the straight up best stack would be Josh Allen, Dalton Kincaid. After Mahomes, Kelsey, then Lamar, Andrews. If you're looking for the best value stack, it's tough. If you're in Best Ball Mania and you want to mix in some Sam Darnold and Jordan Addison with the rest of the field having absolutely none of that combo, it's going to be the worst thing. Okay. Pierce, 182. We are just running back, wide receiver. We're going to go 2 more running backs and 1 more receiver here. Tolbert, week 7 bye, lines up with Rome and Zeke and Dak, but spread out across positions, probably not the worst thing. I feel more comfortable about the round 18 unique options at running back than I do at wide receiver at the moment. So we'll probably take Tolbert here at wide receiver, call it a day, and then go running back to end this draft off. But to be honest with you, it looks like this will be our last draft here. Of course, I'm going to be streaming tomorrow night, the next night. Underdog's actually doing flock tournaments every Monday and Thursday night, but we'll be doing drafts every night regardless. But if you want to get in a flock tournament, you want to get in a draft with me on the live stream, you can find that link in the description, comment section, live chat. Underdog's best ball, so no time commitment at all during the year. That's why it's my favorite place to play. Draft hundreds of teams every year. Won 150,000 2 years ago. And yeah, if you want to join a draft with us, use code FLOCK and you will get our 2024 draft guide, 2024 rankings, and you'll get a 2024 ADP consensus cheat sheet, all 3 of which will be updated every single Sunday for you until the season kicks off. Plus, if you use code FLOCK, you're going to get a Christian McCaffrey special pick of more than less than half a total yard. You'll get a 50% deposit bonus up to $250, but you do need to be in one of these states if you want to draft on Underdog. Good news is it is available in pretty much every single state. You can see the map right there. But I think that should be it. I'm just going to take 2 running backs to close this draft off. And yeah, though, we'll call it here. I got to go walk the dog. I got a bunch to do, but much love. Really do appreciate you. Really hope I get to see you out with the live stream tomorrow night, and really hope you have a great day tomorrow.